Good morning. Welcome to Craft Time at the Lisbon Hepburn Library. My name is Michelle McClagan and I am the director of the library here in Lisbon. And today our craft projects are related to animals from Antarctica. So we're going to be able to make both of these projects with the one craft kit that you have. So the first animal that we have here that we can make is a penguin with a tummy that is made out of newsprint, and we'll do some painting in the background for some snowflakes. The other animal that we have is a polar bear, and we will also be using a fair amount of newsprint, and we will be doing some painting to create some snow on this one as well. So within your craft packet that you've already picked up at the library, let me show you what is in the packet. All right, you're going to have a couple of things here. The first piece of paper in your packet is just going to be an introduction. It shows you what we're making, and it has a photo of each of the two samples that I've already created for you, so you know what the finished project is supposed to look like. The second page is going to be an instruction sheet at the top, and it has a couple of things that you're going to need to cut out. They're labeled for you. This is labeled bear eyes, so you'll have two bear eyes. That'll be for here and here. There's the bear's inner nose, which is this portion, and then this part that's down at the bottom. If you can see that up close, it's really a little challenging to cut out. Now you can cut it out, or you can just kind of cut right off at the bottom of the bear's inner nose, and then you can use a marker to draw the other part of his mouth. We also have a penguin nose, or a beak, whatever you want to call it, that's going to be cut out of orange paper. And we have two penguin eyes, so those will be the eyes for your penguin. The third piece of paper that is in your craft kit just has two things to cut out. They're both going to be cut out of newsprint. One is the bear's head, and one is the bear's shoulders. So the circle is going to be the head, the face part, and the shoulders is going to be this half circle that's down at the bottom. You will also have another sheet that you'll need to cut things out of. And this one is labeled with the various parts. So you've got the penguin's arms, or his flippers. You're going to want to cut two of these shapes out. So this is this big oval that's here for his arms. The bear's outer ears, you're also going to want to cut two pieces, but you're going to do this one out of newsprint. So this is a big circle, and this is going to be the circle that makes the outer part of his ear. The bear's outer nose is this part here that's cut out of newsprint, and then we put that other inner nose on it. And then the last thing you have on this one is the penguin's tummy, and that's going to be cut out of newsprint. I've tried to make sure I've labeled everything with what you want to cut out of as far as the newsprint or the black paper. So the penguin's tummy is going to be this part out of newsprint. The other sheet that you have with more templates, it's got the bear's inner ear. You're going to cut two pieces of that out of black paper. That's going to be this part here. And then you've got the penguin's body out of black paper. So that's going to be this entire part of his body as well as his head. And if you look, the newsprint tummy fits on top of that. So you've got quite a bit that you do have to cut out. You may need a little bit of adult help with that. The other things that you're going to have in your kit, you're going to have a piece of orange paper, and that orange paper is going to be for the penguin's nose or his beak. You're going to have a half sheet of white paper, and what you're going to do with the half sheet of white paper is you're going to cut it in half, more or less, but you can do like a little scallop shape. You're going to be creating some snow for the background. So you can cut it straight across, and that's fine too, or you can take your scissors and go in a wiggly fashion, or you can make one big hill on one. You can do whatever you want, but that's where your white paper is going. You will have a half a sheet of black paper, and you will have a whole sheet of black paper. My advice to you is to cut the larger pieces first. So you'll want to cut this penguin body, which is going to take up a very, very good portion of this big sheet of black paper, and then you'll want to use the other sheet of black paper to do the penguin's arms and to do the ears. So just make sure you start with the big piece and you do the big piece of the penguin body first. So that'll be your black paper. And then you will have 2 sheets of blue cardstock. That's going to be your background, 1 sheet for each of your animals. And then you will have 2 sheets of newspaper print paper. These are kind of thin. They are really, really easy to cut. They will tear quite easily as well. So you just want to use a little care when you're doing that. And that's what you're going to use to do a good part of the polar bear's body, and then the penguin's tummy are going to come out of this newsprint. You will also have 2 other things in your kit. You will have a little container of white paint. You do not need a lot of white paint, so there's not a lot in the container. And you will have a Q-tip. And you'll use the Q-tip to make the snow in the background. It's a double-sided Q-tip, so you can use both sides. You know, if you do both pictures at the same time, one side will stay wet, that'll be good. Otherwise, you might want to use the dry side the next time. Or if you need another Q-tip, you may have one at home. So that's what's in your kit. Now I'm going to set all of that aside for now. And what I've already done is I have prepared all of the different supplies that we're going to need to make our animals. And so those are here. So I've already cut everything out. When you're at home, there are a couple of supplies that you're going to want to have. You're going to want some markers or a crayon or something if you're going to draw the bottom part of the bear's nose, his little mouth part. You will want some markers or crayons. You're definitely going to need some scissors because there's quite a bit of cutting. You'll need a pencil or something to trace with, and then you'll need some glue. Glue stick is fine, or you can use liquid school glue, either one. So let me put aside the 2 samples and we will go and look at what we've got here. So this is what I mean when I said that I cut 2 scallop shapes. They, I guess they go this way, but they fit together to make that half sheet of white paper. So that's what you're going to start with there. And then I've got some eyes. I've got the center of my belly cut out. I have my orange triangle is cut there. And both of these animals actually use the same eyes. There are the arms for my penguin. We'll lay the penguin nose over there. This was the penguin belly. And then we have the penguin eyes. Then I've got my penguin body is right there as well. So that's everything related to my penguin, along with a blue sheet of paper. Then over here, what I have are my ears. So there we go. I've got 2 ears. I've got his shoulders. I've got his nose. These were the eyes that I cut out. I have 2 inner ears, and there is his mouth, and at the bottom of my pile, that is his head. And then I have the piece of blue paper. So let's get started. What we're going to do today is we're going to assemble the polar bear. It's a little more complicated than doing the penguin, so we'll do this one together. So the first thing that we want to do is take our white piece of snow. One of those is going to go that direction, and it's just going to line up pretty much perfectly at the bottom. It's the same size width of paper. Doesn't matter where your hills and valleys go. That is not important. You can do whatever you want. But I'm going to take some of my glue, and I'm going to put some glue on my snow. And then we're going to flip that upside down and line it up right at the bottom. Give that a little press down. There we go. And now let's look at all the other pieces that I've got here. It does help to do some of the pieces in specific orders just because it's a little bit easier to glue them. So first thing that I'm going to do now, I'll put this aside a little bit, is I'm going to take my 2 outer ears, which we've cut out of the newsprint. So that's this part here. Oops, I still have some pieces laying there that I don't need to lose. So we're going to take those. Let's glue the black parts on because it's going to go underneath of his head. So we'll take the black circles that make the inner part of his ear. Let's get some glue on that one. And then we're just going to line it up. It can be right in the middle or it can be a little bit higher. It's fine wherever you want to put it. We'll take the other black circle and we're going to do the same thing. Put some glue on there and then we're going to line that one up as well. Okay, so that would be the ears. So we'll put those aside just a couple moments while we let them dry. We'll go back over here to our piece of blue background and we're going to take the shoulders. The shoulders are going to be the first part that we glue down. They're going to go underneath of his head. So we'll glue that first. So we'll flip that over. And what I did here, the paper was kind of thin, so I did actually glue it to the template that I cut out, and we'll glue that down and that'll give it a little bit of a white background so that you don't see other pieces underneath of it. The newsprint's a little transparent compared to the white paper. So we'll take his shoulders and we're just going to put that right in the middle here. Line it up at the bottom edge, okay, because we don't see the rest of his tummy. We'll push that down. The next piece that we're going to take is going to be the head. So the head is going to overlap the shoulders a little bit. Now we're going to want to slide the ears underneath of the head. So we don't want to put too much glue up at the top because we're going to actually want to be able to peel it back up again. So we'll work quickly there and get some glue on the head. Now you can choose to line it up so the print is all perfectly straight like it would be in a book, or you can choose to tip it to the side a little bit so that you can see the difference between the shoulders and the head. So I'm going to just tip it to the side and you just want to give it a little bit of space down there. So I'm going to press down the bottom half. I'm not going to press down the top part quite so much yet until we do the ears. So let's take one of the ears that we've already assembled with the black inner ear part. We're going to put the glue on the back side and then we're just going to lift this up a little bit and put his ears down underneath of here. So now we can push that ear down and then we'll take the other ear and we're going to put glue on it. And slip that ear underneath of this side. And we'll make sure we leave about the same amount of space so his ears are kind of even. So now what we can do is take this part that we didn't push down real hard before and push all of that down. Make sure that your glue is working and everything is there. And our next step is going to be to put his nose on. So we're going to take the newsprint part of the nose first and get our glue stick. Put some glue on the back of that. And again, I did glue it to my template when I was cutting it out. So we want to put his nose sort of down towards the bottom part of his face. And again, we don't necessarily have to line up all the different newsprint so it's facing the same direction. So let's just give that a little press down right there. And then somewhere here, I have his nose. Now I did cut out the detailed part here, but that was, like I said, a little bit interesting and challenging. So I'm going to put some glue on it and carefully try not to rip that. And if I did rip it, I would just trim off the rest of it and then go from there. So we'll put his inner nose on the newsprint part of his nose. And then we just have two other pieces. We have two eyes, so we'll flip those over, put some glue on each one, and then you just want to kind of line them up in the top part of his head where his eyes would go. So we'll do the second one. And you can make them a little bit cross-eyed, or you can put them so they're sort of at the same angle and he's looking off that direction. out the window of the library. So there, we've got everything glued down. So that part is all taken care of. The only part we have left to do is to add some snow. So we'll take our paint. And we're going to take our Q-tip. Give your paint a little bit of a stir. It's been in the craft kit for at least probably a week or so. It should be in perfectly good shape, but nevertheless, give it a little bit of a stir. So just dot, dot, dot. The harder you press, the bigger your dots. The lighter you press, the smaller your dots. You don't want them spaced all equally because that's not how snow falls. You can do quite a few dots before you need to add more paint to your Q-tip. And you want some of them to be bigger and you want some of them to be darker and brighter with more paint, whereas some of them are going to be further away. So those dots are going to be smaller and fainter. And you're just going to do a very, very random pattern here. You definitely don't want stripes or rows or anything that looks like you planned it that way. You're just going to plan to be random. Now, you can choose to put snow in front of his face as well, or snow on the background. That's your choice. I'm just going to put it on the blue part, and I'm going to put my lid back on my paint. And as you can see, I think I dipped my Q-tip in maybe 4 times, 3 or 4 times. I was not counting, but it's not a lot, and I did not use a lot of paint. And even with the second one, you should have plenty of paint no matter what. So let me put my glue stick together here, and I'm going to slide this one out of the way and give you a really quick rundown of what you need to do for the penguin, which I said is just a little bit easier. So with the penguin, you're just going to take the other sheet of, or other half of your white sheet of paper. You're going to glue that down at the bottom to make your snow. And then you're going to take, this was my template, which I don't need anymore. You're going to take your black part of the penguin's body. That's going to go next. And then you're going to take this center portion. That's going to go here. You're going to line that up at the bottom as well because we don't see his feet or anything. This was the template that I used to cut out his 2 arms, wings. I called them flippers. I think they're wings. He's a bird. And you're going to put those about midway down his body. You can put them so that they are at this position. You can make him wave if you want to do that, or you can let them hang out over the edge of the piece of paper, which is what I did here. I thought that looked kind of cute, so we can do that. Then I would say the next thing you're going to want to do is take his eyes. You'll want to glue on the back, put his eyes up there at the top of his head. And then the last piece that you're going to want, and here was my template for that, is to put his beak on. So I would put his eyes on first, and then I would put his beak on last. And you want, this is the top part of his beak, so you can do it straight down. If he's looking off to the side, you may want to do it at an angle, and that's fine too. So you'll glue that down, and you want it probably to overlap a little bit on his tummy. So that's why we would put the tummy part of the newsprint down first. So that is what you will end up with. You'll take your Q-tip, you'll take your paint then, and you'll add some dots. And again, you can put snow in front of the penguin as well if you choose to do so. So I'm going to just put this one aside. I'm going to bring in the one that I just did so that you can see what that looks like. And then this, of course, is what we started with as the samples, and yours should look much like that when you're done. Thank you so much for joining us for craft time today as we explored animal crafts for Antarctica. So we've got our polar bear, we've got our penguin. I will see you next time at the Lisbon Hepburn Library. Once again, my name is Michelle McClagan, and I'm the director of the library here in Lisbon. Our hours are Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 3 to 8 p.m. and Wednesday and Friday from 9 to 5. We look forward to seeing you at the library, and we hope you enjoy the rest of our summer reading program. Take care.